Hello and welcome back to another episode of Under the Floorboard. Today I am riding it solo. I do not have my co-host Steve McCavaney with me today, unfortunately, but I do have the incredible Amy Russell with me today. Amy, thank you very much for coming along.
Nice to be here.
Good. So obviously being a property investor yourself, you've got buy-to-lets, essays. Before all that though, like take us back if you can. Like tell us a bit more about you.
So I guess property's meant to be my side hustle.
Right.
It was never meant to be like such a big thing. My background is basically science. So I did 2 biology degrees, went and did a PhD down in Bristol, looking at diabetic kidney disease. So if you can picture it, I was literally in a lab, white coat on safety specs, analysing rat urine. That was basically my PhD.
I can't wait to finish this PhD and look at rat piss.
So glamorous. It was so glamorous. For $13,000 a year, might add.
What doctors get paid well?
No, a PhD doctor in academia. So after a year, I kind of realised that life wasn't really for me. But my mum was like, no, stick it out, get the piece of paper, get the qualification, and then you can go and do other stuff.
Yeah.
But then it was like, what do you do after that? Because all I had heard about was like these kind of, they call them like postdoc positions where you're in a research lab for like a year or 2. You maybe go into lecturing or you go into the pharmaceutical industry or go into sales. But none of that was me. So I didn't really know what to do. And obviously you come out and everybody's like so happy for you that you've got this qualification. You're like, that's great, but it doesn't mean anything. Like if that's
it's supposed to have that on paper, but like if you don't actually enjoy it, or
aye, and it's like, what's the next thing? So basically, I ended up going into medical device compliance, which is very, very niche. But
sounds very. I just hurt my head listening to that. I was like, what? So what does that involve? Like,
so basically anything that you would find in a hospital, but isn't a drug. So even like a wheelchair, hospital bed, a plaster's a medical device, hip implant.
A plaster?
Yep.
Can I put this medical device? I think like thermometers or like wheelchairs and stuff like that.
Plaster, everything. It goes on a risk scale. I could talk about it for ages. But
even the Peppa Pig ones, like.
Aye. Yep. Yeah. So basically, anything like that. And at the time, so this was like 2015. There was lots of changes coming into the medical device industry because there had been some scandals. So basically I was coming in, there was lots of changes happening. I basically worked for different companies for 3 years, writing some paperwork for them, protocols, test reports, basically demonstrating compliance with the regs. And then after 3 years, I was like, do you know what, I'm going to go and be a contractor and do it was like 6 months, a year at different companies. And that did pretty well. So basically, where the property came into it is that growing up, my parents had very traditional jobs. Like my mum was a primary school teacher, my dad was a bank manager, but my dad always used to come home and say things like, I'm working with these guys, these business guys, and they have these things called portfolios. And I'd be like, right, what's that then? And he always said, if you get any money, mate, like invest in property. Because it can be like, you'll gain the capital investment from it, but it'll be like a little bit of income as well. Yep. And then eventually you can just retire. So
dream.
That is the dream. So that's what I did, basically. And every 50 grand that I got from the medical device company, I basically would buy a wee flat. Mostly they were turnkey ones, although the very first one I had is one in Hamilton in the Furlongs.
Right.
And I actually did quite a lot of work to that, but I made so many mistakes.
Like what? Did you do it yourself or did you hire folk in?
No,
or?
I just got a guy from my builder who could do it all. And it was a disaster, Sean. I'm there as like a naive woman, like taking their first steps into property.
Yeah.
And I'm there going like, see that shower, can you refit it so that like when I turn it on, it actually says it's on, not it's stop? Because that's how they had fitted the shower.
Oh, wow. Right, okay.
Or see that that socket over there, can you actually make that level if that's not too much trouble?
Do you think, was that down to them and their quality, or do you think, like, obviously quite male dominated, even your dad was saying it's these guys, so it's quite a male dominated industry, but do you think it's because like, oh, it's a woman in property, like she'll not notice these wee things, or she'll not pull us up on these things? Do you think that ever come into
I think it was a bit of both. I think it was me being totally naive to it all, and like I had only bought my house before, so I didn't really, and I did do loads of work to that either, so it was like, I don't even know how to approach this. I'll just get some trade from my builder who does it all. They look like they get all right reviews, let's go for that. And then obviously they probably saw like a young woman, I was very blonde at the time as well, which probably didn't help, and they were just like, she's not going to pull us up on that, that'll be fine.
Aye. Okay. And then any other mistakes or learnings from that first one that take you into the next ones, or?
Yes, but this one actually isn't my fault, right?
Just get it out there straight away.
Aye. So at the time, I was with an accountant, and obviously it's like the logistics of stuff, like moving money around. I actually bought that first Hamilton flat cash, which some people say was a mistake, some people say wasn't. And in hindsight, I've used that unencumbered property for bridging and stuff like that. So actually, it's been fine, but...
So what's that value that now to use against?
So it's valued at 75 now, and I bought it for 63 or something.
What did you do kind of work-wise? Was it a full renovation, just wee bits and bobs?
No, it was like bathroom, heating, flooring. So not too much, but as a total novice, jumping in like that, I think it was quite brave to do
quite
that.
a lot to take on. What year was that roughly? You bought the first one?
That was 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
No, just buy that cat. And was that in your... Did you do that kind of personal name? Did you do a limited company?
So I got the limited company set up, but the mistake that was made was actually that... So I went to my accountant at the time, and I said, so I'm going to buy this property cash. Should I move the money from my medical device company over to the property company, or should I move it to me personally and then do it to the property company? And they told me it didn't matter.
Right. Good advice.
Tax bill later. It did matter. Yeah. It did matter.
It's funny because that actually only really started coming into effect like 2017, 2018 when that came in, about the kind of tax thing. So it's been a couple of years, so they really should have cottoned on to the update and went, actually, we've had a client come in, do their personal name, this is how it's affected the change. And
I didn't actually buy it through my personal name. What I did was I transferred it from a medical device company to me personally to the property company, which then meant that I paid massive amounts in dividend.
Right, okay.
Like, what was the point of that?
Just doing a transfer.
So after that, I moved accountants, got a holding company set up, and I have never done that again.
Good. So then you buy that first one, 2021. That was not the turnkey one, but then the rest of them are turnkey after that then?
Mostly, I'd say that like some of them are, after that, were quite good quality stock, like ones in Byers Road, which has been rented out ever since with students, obviously. It's gone up a good like whack, and I think I bought that in 2023, and it's gone up 40 grand.
Well,
so that's all right.
Decent. From a turnkey perspective as well?
It was
like,
just totally turnkey. I didn't do anything to it, just compliance.
And what was the... Because your dad's obviously been in the bank, seeing these guys with portfolios, it would have been maybe different strategies at the time, but when you're getting into it, you know, you've got a kind of well-paying job and that side of things, what's the strategy? Is it cash flow or is it pension pot for retirement down the line?
So I'd say at the time it was like pension pot, although I did have a pension that I set up when I opened my business anyway, but it was just like a wee extra. And then I'd say this year I've taken on like bigger projects and started looking at strategies a bit more in terms of like taking more risks, basically.
Right, okay. Interesting. So the pension pot, kind of side hustle almost like you're saying, and how, I mean, is the kind of mindset shift change then from going from taking more risks from the turnkey? How's that came about?
I think so. So earlier in the year, kind of went on the PCN coaching network, the David Smart's course, and that's when I was like, right, I've heard bridging loans and stuff spoken about, and I in theory knew how they worked, but I just hadn't used them yet. And then I was like, well, actually I've got this unencumbered property sitting there, I've got equity in other properties as well. And by that point, after the course, and you get in all these WhatsApp groups and stuff like that, it's like if you I actually bought the deal from Matt Morrison for the first big project this year, which was South Queensferry.
Yeah.
It was a repossession. There were stab marks in the wall. Like there wasn't a toilet. Wendy's panned in. Like,
so we went from turnkey to Wendy's panned in, stab marks. It's an upgrade.
I actually wasn't scared because I had Matt sourced it for me.
There's an element of trust in who's bringing the deal to you in terms of numbers and that anyway.
I think because I knew Matt before, and I'd watched him on socials and stuff like that, I knew he wasn't just like he just hadn't just started sourcing or whatever. The evidence was there. And even how he structured the deal, like he told me how much the refurb was. He had a team in place to do it, so it was actually very hands off. So I was just getting content and having a wee look around, basically.
Yeah, for 5 minutes going, right, looks good. Cheers,
Is there a toilet in this flat yet? No, okay, cool. But it was a good project to just like be a part of.
Your own project to see, like you're not getting hands on. Somebody, a reputable kind of build team in as well to get it going. And like you say, a kind of trusted source to use the phrase.
And that was the first bridging loan that I'd used.
Right, how did that go then?
I mean, it is a whole new world. See, for somebody that hasn't used a bridging loan before.
Yeah.
Like, the way it worked with that one, I think the purchase price was 115. And the solicitor ended up giving me money back. Like, and I was like, what? Like, so I'm purchasing this property and you're giving me money. Like, so basically the bridge covered the deposit, it covered the ADS and a bit of the refurb.
Mm-hmm.
So I was winning. I thought I'd won the lottery, but bridging you need to be careful because at the start it can feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who had only done turnkey properties before, and all the property circles when they talk about exit strategies, like I never knew what that was. But it's because I never exited a deal really.
It's always just there. You buy
it. Yeah. And I hadn't really refinanced anything like that. So when people spoke about exit strategies, I was just like, all right, okay. And then obviously at the end of the bridge, I was like, all right.
That's what that is. The extra fee you pay, what?
And you need to pay back the bridge and then you need to put down the 25% basically to get onto the buy-to-let mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it can be squeaky bum time, really, can't it? Like,
for the refinance, you've got to get the value you want and all that. And did you find the process of going through the bridge, like obviously it's quite confusing for your first time looking at it, all these different figures coming to you. Did you service it monthly?
I did it monthly.
You can retain it obviously in different kind of ball game that way, but
and I knew it was going to be quick. I think I was only in the bridge for 3 months.
Right, okay. So a very quick turnaround for the build team. I think that's the important thing as well, is going back to having the right team in place.
Mm-hmm.
So like the fact that Matt had the team in place to manage it, I think did Willie help with it?
It was Willie, yeah.
Willie's brilliant as well. So like to have them in there in place, hand it for you, you can crack on with your own stuff, and they're doing it. But I think the important thing as well is they're investors also, so they understand you're on a bridge. It's only 3 months. This needs done. There can't be any delays. There has to be plenty of communication. It has to get done quick because there's a fee if you don't.
Time is of the essence.
And I think working with that kind of team as well is important. If it's just a random builder, but I mean that with the greatest respect, they might just plod on with it and not understand the kind of severity of if you don't hit the target of when you need to finish, because then you need to go through the process of refinancing, getting that paperwork in place, and that can take a delay, and you need to start that before the 3 months and everything. So have the right team in place is...
definitely a sense of urgency if you're on a bridge. Like every minute is, every month if you're paying the fee, you want to be in and out really.
Aye, definitely. And you said you bridged against the first one then? That you did, aye?
Yeah,
brilliant. And that covered your deposit? And
aye, so it was
amazing.
mad. It was just crazy, but until you have to exit the bridge and then you're like, all right, okay, this isn't so great now.
And this one at South Queensferry, what's that? Is it a buy-to-let or...?
It's a... so it's a buy-to-let, it's on a social housing contract.
Right, okay.
So the rate's really good, it's very hands-off now, but it was quite a pain towards the end, like in terms of like what they require. Like it's not just like a private let, you know, it was like, go and show us that every radiator works. This net curtain in the kitchen needs to be a certain length and width. I'm like,
oh, is it one of the Mears ones?
Aye,
God, I've never dealt with them direct, but clients I have, it's not. So it's like, here's 10 points you need to cover. Cool, there's your 10 points. No, but here's another 5 you need to cover. Right, there's your 5. Actually, here's another 10 you need to cover. It's just like, give us a full list of things you need done in the one go, rather than doing wee bits and bobs, because, like I say, it's frustrating. Like, the curtain pole's no long enough, the bed's on the right thickness and all that kind of stuff. It's just...
even like, I mean, the list of requirements was crazy, but even like I think the freezer space, like you have to have a certain number of shelves per person that's going to be in the property.
There's more rigidness and regular things you need to do to tick those boxes for social housing there is any, like just a private let, for example. Do you know what I mean?
It was way above and beyond. Even like furniture, like I don't furnish any of my buy-to-lets because there's no point. I think most people have their own furniture, but it was like, oh no, you need to have this minimum requirement per
beds and sofas and all that.
Even depending on the size of the room and stuff like that. And it was just crazy towards the end, but it's worth it now.
Aye, good. And that's exited, bridged, on a buy-to-let. What's the next project coming up? You got one in mind?
So the next one is, so I'm going to branch out into serviced accommodation. Nice. So I've started Ames Property Stays, just to keep that separate. And it's another one from Matt, so hopefully it'll go well. It's down in Hoyk.
That's 2 shout-outs, Matt. That's 2
I know.
So down in Hoyk.
So obviously there's going to be the centre parks being built down there over the next few years.
So good.
I know that Matt's got one down there that's doing really well already, and he's just launched it, so fingers crossed mine will be the same. But it's a 3-bed, second floor flat. It doesn't need too much. It's like carpets, bathroom, kitchen.
Just getting to that hotel-esque kind of standard, isn't it? Somebody's staying there, so not quite the buy-to-let, just a slight up from it kind of thing. Not as crazy as Mears.
It's not got any stab marks in the wall. That I know of.
That you know of just yet. Uncover the floorboard.
Shout out.
I know, I don't even mean that at all, you know. But so what was the process in your mind going from, right, okay, you've done buy-to-lets, or you've done turnkey, not so turnkey, Mears, bridging, now you move it to SA. You just try to look at different strategies. Is there a purpose behind it?
I think that basically now I'm just trying to try out different strategies and see how they go. There might be one that I prefer and I actually end up leaning more into. Like I think next year I'm going to try commercial.
No.
But I think it's quite hard to get the right project, and it's a totally different ball game. Like I've spoken to Jerry Alexander a wee bit and stuff like that, but I'd love to try something different and just see how it goes.
A bit like kind of diversifying your portfolio and go back to that. Now you're the one with the portfolio growing, and it's like you say, it's that kind of diversification and like just speaking to the right people. So obviously Matt down Hoyk and the teams for Queen's Ferry, then having people like Jerry Alexander to speak to. I spoke to him at an event, was it last week, week before? And I've spoken to him a few times before, but I've actually just having that kind of one-on-one conversation about commercial. He just knows so much. Because we were looking at one, and we're going to do a commercial to Resi and do student accommodation on it. And the numbers look good. The builder who was up there had done one on the ground floor already, converted to Resi. So he's like, I know the building, I know the cost, all that. I'm like, brilliant, that's brilliant. And then I was like, something just wasn't sitting with me, do you know what I mean? I'm like, nah, this is too straightforward. Like, I don't know much of anything about commercial.
Have you done any commercial?
No. So I'm like, but I've heard, like, I've spoken to people, I've read up on a few things, I've spoken to Jerry, I've heard Jerry on the podcast and stuff like that. And then as I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm missing something. There's something just not clicking here. So I spoke to Jerry and I spoke to him about that one as well. And he's like, oh, have you considered this in the plans? I'm like, shit, no. So it was like, this is going to be the top floor. There's a floor below you, so you need that like hang span insulation, whatever it is, between the floors. I'm like, shit, I didn't realise that. And it's not in the plans. And then all these other wee kind of bits he was talking about. I'm like, cool. So this, 50 odd K renovation we were given is actually going to be maybe 70K plus instead. So I'm like, nah, the numbers just don't work at what they want. So, and then I started seeing it going from, they wanted a figure and it came down a couple grand and down a couple of grand. I'm like, cool, something not quite right. But like I say, having the right people to rely on and talk to is going to help.
Totally.
So what's the idea with the commercial then? Are you just for you to do a certain strategy in commercial? Because I think there's quite a few.
I don't know yet, to be honest. I think obviously the no ADS on commercial is obviously very attractive, considering how much ADS I have paid and that it might be going up again.
God, I know.
But I think just to try something and see what works. And obviously just trying to target the right thing in commercial, because it's like you don't want to buy a building and then it's not rented out for ages or you're left with it. Because you see so many of them, like, you know, traditional like high street shops and stuff like that. You need to be talking to the right people and making the right decision. And I've not been in the commercial space enough yet to make that right choice. So I'm going to do a bit more research and maybe even do Jerry's course, to be honest.
More digging into it. That's two shouts Jerry as well. That's another referral.
Mates rates.
I mean, you've been doing this, 4 years now?
4 years.
Good.
Yeah.
And in those kind of early years or early deals, is there anything that surprised you the most about them? Positive or kind of negative?
In terms of buying a deal, or just
in terms of the deals itself, because obviously your dad's like, does these guys do portfolios and like, cool, that's brilliant, that's something to consider and do. You're like, cool, I'm going to go and do that. Is there anything from the process of, it could be buying the deals, it could be getting the teams in place, but anything that just kind of surprised you, again, positive or negative on it?
I think probably this year what surprised me the most is just like this underworld of property that there is, that like the wee jimmies out in the street don't know about, like even being in all the WhatsApps and even the process of buying an off-market deal, like people don't actually know that exists. They just know Rightmove, and if I'm going to go and buy a house, I'll look on Rightmove. They don't actually know that there's this below market area, or even like all of the different strategies or areas that you can get involved in property, like staging, brokers, letting agents, estate agents. Like there's so many different parts to it that actually, and what you can do with finance, that's probably the biggest learning for me this year. It's like, I don't need to save up, or I don't need to have the money in the other business and transfer it across. I can use what I've got now, and that's a really strong position to be in.
Yeah.
So it's no longer like such a big burden or such a big like thing to have to think about. Like, oh, I'm going to go and buy something, and where's the cash coming from? Like, the cash is there. It's just not like physically in a bank, but that's fine. Like, and it's, people hear me say stuff like that, and they're like, you're bridging using that, but they could come and take your house off you, or they could come and take that property off you then if you don't pay it back. And it's like, but I'm going to pay it back. Like, the figures work. Like, I think it's just like that attitude to risk.
It's the mindset of it as well, isn't it? Like, it's kind of that old, you don't know what you don't know, because it's kind of done you a kind of turn in a way, like not knowing that, because you obviously bought them cash and everything else, they're just sitting there, and then you came in a position where you're actually doubling up on that cash I actually had, because when I bought it, they're up in value on some of them as well, and now you can cross collateral charges, bridges against it, whatever it may be, to actually then grow even more. So not knowing you had those options to begin with was good in a sense, but then the more you learn about it, the more you can actually get into more advanced strategies as such into it.
Aye.
And taking on things like education, for example, that's a bit of a kind of marmite with education, isn't there? Either I'm going to do it myself and I don't need any education, and cool, that's fine. I know loads of people have done that and they've done well. And then there's people who just swear by it. And I'm probably one of the ones who go, I think it's worthwhile. I've done it myself, so I know it's worthwhile. What was your opinion on it?
I think it's hard, and I think I have made probably comments in the past about education and property, just because like I always compare it to my other business and like my background in science. Like, see if I pay for a course to learn X, and you don't just give me a protocol that says how you do X. Like, I'm like I don't need to know, it's maybe sounds bad, but I don't need to know about like the car you drive or the watch you've got on, or like your backstory or mindset or anything. Like, if I'm paying for this strategy, tell me this strategy, which is probably really black and white, but that's just my kind of attitude to it. But I know what you mean, like some of it is totally worthwhile, but I think you need to be in the right circles to know whose course is worthwhile doing. And you also need to be clear about what you want to gain from it as well.
I think it's obviously the space can get this bad name because of so many kind of false promises, the get rich quicks and the quit a job in 4 days kind of marketing. And
do you know anybody that's quit their job in 4 days and become a multi-millionaire in property?
Not without a big inheritance, but it's one of those ones that I seen something the other day. It was Alex Hormozy was saying about people who drive about in flashy cars. They're trying to impress poor people. If that kind of makes sense, because the rich people can buy them every day if they wanted to. It's a weird. I'm probably misquoting him completely there, but his point was you're doing these kind of flash things to impress the wrong people to buy into something, and it can be true. But I think there's still got to be a case of giving people the right, like you say, steps to go and apply it and having the right. With these things as well, because there is so many strategies and so many ways to finance and so many ways to do different things. It's hard to learn everything at one time on that course, whether it be a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, 2-day course. You're not going to learn everything. So having that aftercare, I think, is super important as well. Having the right group around you is going to be good for it as well. Because like you say, do back your let, right, cool, I've done that, I want to change to service accommodation. Would I learn that course again? Right, is there a support mechanism on? I think school's a big one just now, isn't it? Like everybody's using that. So if you've got the right mechanisms in place to help, structures, processes, because I'm very like, pretty much do this, do that, like procedural for me, and that's brilliant. I do that as well. I know people just kind of dart about the place, and I could certainly going to do that if I was doing anything.
I think also, just to jump in there on what you were saying, like in terms of like networking and learning new strategies, like if you actually just like approach the right people in the right way, like if I just came to you and said, Sean, can we go for a coffee and just have a chat about X? As long as you're not like, I'm just going to get all the information out of you for free. Like, but I think most people in property are actually quite open to going for a coffee with somebody in terms of just like, you know, building their network and exchanging information. And I think sometimes you can really benefit a lot from just doing something like that. I
think actually, like, yeah, you're right. Like asking people, it's a whole kind of pick your brain conversation. Like, no, you can't. But you can have a coffee. Your information for free. I guess Stephen Clark on the podcast, and he was saying that as well. People used to ask him that, and he used to do it, and also he's like, well, do it all the time. Like, why not just run something and help everybody at one time, kind of thing. And yeah, you're right. Certain people will be open to having that coffee, having that conversation, because it's the longer term value of that relationship. It's not just that what you're taking away from right now. And a good example of that is I went and met a guy for a coffee, two of them actually, for a coffee, like a Sunday night, 8 p.m. I'm like, that's my chill down time.
You're coffee at that time?
A cup of tea I had. And they were talking away, not away, I'm like, this relationship might not go anywhere at all. But I'm just giving them information that I know of at the time. And then it was like, never really heard much after that. And then a year later or so, probably about a year later, just over, they'd messaged us about helping their friend with property, and I got an assisted sale out of it.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they didn't do it themselves, but for whatever reason, they've come back to me and said, can you help them with this? Because one, I'm active on socials, but I still had that time to take out my day and go and speak to them and give them value.
Aye.
So it's not about thinking what you get in that immediate transaction of going for the coffee and what can you give me.
Aye.
So what can you give somebody else, and that will probably come back to you later down the line.
Especially if, like, I'm just thinking about like the PCN course I went on earlier in the year. Like, there's a few people who have gone away and done stuff, and now like we are still having these kind of conversations and coming together. So I think you're right, it can be like quite a long game, and it's just about making those connections, and sometimes your paths cross and you align on what you're wanting to do, and it can be like a joint venture or something like that in the future. So you should always keep your kind of options open.
Try to grab my coffee there without getting noticed. I know. No, you're absolutely right. And
what do you think about socials? I'm just going to jump in here. Like
swapping the seats about.
A wee bit, like, because I've only just started socials for the property business this year, right? So I think for a long time it was kind of under the radar. But I've had like some really, most people are quite nice about it and stuff like that.
You getting the hate?
Not directly, right? But I'm going to refer to a character that I like to call Wee Jimmy, right? Not related to James or MD, actually, no. But, like, you know, it's like the Wee Jimmys.
You know who you are.
We'll have a Wee Jimmy in our life, right? Wee Jimmy is like the guy you went to school with, like 20 years ago or something. They don't follow you on social media, but you overhear from, like, a friend of a friend, Wee Jimmy was talking about you down the local, saying, look at that Amy Russell, she's fully herself. Bragging about her properties.
I think that's natural in any development from change. So people will know you in a certain space. They know who you are. And then, say you're the medical person, right? I've probably got your actual bit wrong there, but you're they know you from the medical side of things, right? As soon as you start transitioning to something else that they don't know you for, it's uncomfortable for them, not for you. It's uncomfortable for them to see you change. Whether they know you or like you or not, you try to bet yourself, kind of put yourself in an uncomfortable position, like, oh, who do you think they are? Do you know what I mean? And I used to get, I deleted loads of folk off my social media.
You deleted them? From your business page?
My mum, my dad, grannies. For one, I'm like, I'm not using social media to be friends. If you got my number, we're pals, phone me. But if you want to bitch about me on social media, then that's not for me. I've got some friends on there, at the very beginning, would give us wee digs. It's just wee digs, it's Scottish banter, isn't it? But there's a point where you're not my client. I'm happy to have you on social media, but you're not my client.
Target audience.
I'm not posting this for you. By all means, like it and engage with it. I love that. Support me on it. But it's not aimed at you. And I used to get, like, I think it was my sister at one point saying, fucking sick of seeing all your shite on there, like,
you're mugging man.
I'm like, cool. And I'll go to, like, I used to play poker quite a lot, and I stopped, just too busy. And I went, it was like maybe 9 months into this whole journey, and I walked into one of the games, and he's like, oh, there's Mr. Facebook. I'm like,
Mr. Facebook.
Oh, I've seen your ads everywhere. I'm like, cool, that's what I want. So I think it's tough, and I think you need to be, one, aware it's going to happen to you regardless. But secondly, just also be aware that it's not always come from a bad place. It's just uncomfortable for them to see you change, whether they really know you or it's wee Jimmy. Somebody's going to pass comment regardless, whether you're doing something right or wrong. But if you're doing the right thing for you, then fuck them. Do you know what I mean? Really? In the nicest possible way, Jimmy.
I was just going to ask if we can swear on this podcast.
Christ.
But I also find it difficult because property is obviously way more like common. Like everybody's got a property, so they know about it. So I think like being out there in property, actually people that maybe you went to school with or something are now like, oh, I'll go and talk to Amy because she's doing property and I want to get into property. And it's like, we haven't spoken in 20 years. Like, what? And they just expect you to like teach them everything. I actually have a funny story that in my medical device company years ago, I did a contract and there was a guy in the team who used to speak over me, like didn't give me the time of the day, like just was a bit of an arsehole, right?
Jimmy.
And I posted one thing about the South Queensferry project on LinkedIn, which is predominantly my area for medical devices, right? And I get a text from wee Jimmy. And he's going, hi, so-and-so, we worked together during this contract. And I'm not joking, the message said, I want to get into property and you're going to show me how. And I was just like,
no, you did.
No, wee Jimmy, no.
Wow, the arrogance of that one.
That kind of arrogance, I'm just like, nah.
There was that's actually brilliant, and I wish I said what I was going to say before you said that, because I like you so true. But I've said it before and I'm going to forget the quote, but they'll laugh at you at first and then they'll ask you how to do it later on.
Oh, 100%.
And that is so true. And I remember being in my old job, and at the time I was sceptical about running ads. I'm like, you don't know who they're going to go to, really. And you can see it. You're going to get questioned, and I did. Rightly so, I suppose. But I remember I felt pure shit about it that day, and I stopped posting for days because I got right in my head about it. But I just remember somebody had found the ad. And at the time, I don't take myself too seriously in that kind of sense, like when I do my ads. And at the time, I was jumping in and out of rooms and all this kind of stuff.
Jumping in and out of rooms.
Aye, like, hi, do you want to sell your property? Like,
dead
those
salesy.
quirky.
Aye.
and somebody had found it on their phone, and what they'd done is somebody recorded their phone playing the ad, and it was just getting about the work. I'm like, ugh. That way, like, you kind of like sink in a wee bit and go, fuck, you're getting spoken about without really knowing why it's going about. So I'm sure there's a few laughs, a few sniggers, but
who's laughing now?
it's one of those ones, like, people then go, how is it you...
How do you do that?
Aye. And not everybody will, but the people will laugh at you first anyway, and then they'll ask you how to do it eventually. And it's just that uncomfortable of change. LinkedIn's a big one because that's a very professional platform. People will know you for being that. So if you post something property, your audience will just go, what? She's not doing...
I think it's also confusing. It probably is confusing for them as well, but you get the wee jimmies as well. So,
I also think it's almost a non-negotiable for me. It has to be, like, nobody can do business with you if they don't really know who you are.
Aye.
So you are known for one profession, you need to be known in property. Property is crazy because property seems so small, and it is quite a small world. But once you're in that world, it's massive. There's loads of folk, but from the outside looking in, it's just like a tiny wee couple of guys in suits in a portfolio, and it's not really. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's so important to be posting constantly, but also be in the mindset to block out the noise, because you will get your wee jimmies commenting.
And I think that's like what I've tried to do this year, because obviously because I wasn't posting about it, it's like, depending on what I do next, like I want to have like that kind of maybe like landing page-ish on socials so that people can go and say, Amy's doing property, I can see that she's doing it, she's not just like talking around it, and that kind of provides any evidence to, like, if I was to raise private investor finance in the future, stuff like that, it's like she's legitimate, she's doing what she's saying she's doing.
Yeah, I think like your Instagram's pretty good in terms of try to scroll back, and your Instagram is good as well, but you should, like, your online CV almost.
Aye.
So if you went to somebody and went, look, I've got a project here, like, to, you know, raise some funds for it, and likes to get involved.
Show some stuff you've done. That's going to be the first
you're
question.
You're like, oh, I've done this and this, but most people, and most of the clients that I bring on board, they don't comment, they don't like, but they'll scroll and they'll see it.
In the background, aye.
And I had one, I don't mind me saying this actually, you'll know who he is, but I had one client who'd never done any of that, but every so often, I never told him this actually, but every so often he would do like the wee emojis on the story, like the story, thumbs up and the fire emoji and all that, to get into your DMs, and that's all you used to do, thumbs up, fire. I'm like, who is this guy?
Number one fan.
I'm like, yes, super fan. And then eventually he's like, oh, we should grab a coffee one day, and it goes back to that, right, I don't mind doing that and sharing value, but I thought in my head, right, where's this?
It's so vague, isn't it? Let's go for a coffee.
What is this? Are you going to murder me? Are you, like, what's the point in the coffee? Like, you try to get involved in property.
Aye.
And then I was like, yeah, no, sounds good. And I said, let's get a date booked in. And then the day we went to meet, it was a nice area. I was like, cool, okay, maybe he's not just a randomer going to kidnap me.
Was it his choice about where to go? Was it?
It was actually, just a public place, so I wasn't getting kidnapped.
Safety first.
Aye. And we're talking about, it was actually so-and-so that put me onto your page and stuff. I'm like, oh, right, so investor I work with referred on.
Right.
And he was like, get involved, come on as a client, told him a deal. But again, that was just somebody randomly, every so often,
a connection,
doing an emoji. It wasn't a conversation like, well done, or commenting or liking, it was just on my stories. And in the beginning I thought, what the fuck's this weirdo, man?
Just gonna say, who's this weirdo?
You'll not even saying that, but like, obviously he's a great guy. I've taken him out to client stuff before as well, and but it's just like, you don't really know. He would never have seen me online unless I was posting. So it's so crucial and part of any journey.
You don't know who's watching, do you?
100%. Has there been a time where you're looking at deals and you're like, stepped, like, maybe nearly going to buy it and then stepped away last minute, or just looked at a deal altogether and went, I'm not getting involved in that, it's too risk versus reward isn't balanced out, it's too risky for me at the time, certainly you're starting?
I'm trying to think, like, I guess, like, going back, so, like, I didn't buy deals, I was just buying from Rightmove, and then, like, this year it's been, like, buying some deals. I I don't know if there would be anything that I would shy away from now, which is a weird thing to say, considering I've gone from turnkey to like South Queensferry. But no, I don't think there would be anything that I'd be like, that's too risky, unless it was like a strategy that I hadn't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that now I know the right people to go to run it by.
Yeah, good enough support network to.
And I think that's a hard thing to get. Like, as we said before, it's like property is quite a big area, and you need to realise and kind of find your feet and realise who's actually doing it and who's like
Social media just never inside the house. Never doing anything.
Or some people just do viewings. That's what I've noticed. There's a lot of people that just seem to do viewings, but they don't actually own any property. They don't actually deal source. They're just kind of, I think they're just trying to find their feet.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to suss out like who you can go to for advice and who are the big players basically.
Mm-hmm. Aye. I think surrounding yourself with the right people, especially even at the beginning, those people doing like 10, 15 viewings a week if they can, like multiple viewings a week, and they're just showing our journey. I think that's still so important.
Aye, so
but I think there's a point to being honest to your journey with it as well.
Aye.
So you're out of viewings, you're looking to get involved in property, you're looking to start property sourcing.
Because somebody might come to you with something that you can co-source on or something like that if you are just like totally honest about where you are.
Yeah, and I've said to people, like when I see new people try to do sourcing or get involved in property, that is, for me, with the great respect, that's the kind of entry into property for me. Because usually you don't need a lot of capital or any to get involved in it. So it's a good way to build up the pot. And I've said to people, like, it's a chicken and egg thing. You either have a deal or you have an investor. But investors sometimes want to see what we've done, and when you're buying a deal, you don't know what you're actually trying to buy for. So it's really hard, and I find it really hard to begin with as well. But I'll say to people coming in now, like, here's my investors' criteria. If you're outsourcing anyway, and you find something, let's just collaborate on it. Also, I'll vet the deal, because if there's going to be things missing from there that you might not include. But I think that's important as well, is having that network and seeing people that are trying to start it and go, right, well, let's collaborate, and you'll learn from that as well. And be right, there's a lot of people on social media just doing viewings and saying they're, portfolio builders, and they've not sold any deals.
Aye, definitely.
The kind of hidden cost between, like, I suppose that was my meaning with the surprises, like kind of short-term let to keep it almost simpler compared to like SA and everything else. But was there any sort of kind of hidden cost or things you were unaware of going into it? Like do you think you just buy it, deposit, and that's you? Was there anything else that came up during that process? You're like, shit, I never really considered that.
I think like maybe not just on financials, but obviously the license costs money. But I think what surprised me about SAs is that like every council has different requirements. Because I had just heard things like, if it's a common entrance door, cannot be an SA. But actually in certain councils that's fine. So there's all these different requirements, and it's also just published online. And from a regulatory background, I'm just like, okay, I'll go and have a swatch of that and see what I need to do.
Makes it straightforward in a sense, so kind of. But
aye, but it's, I guess you don't know what you don't know. But even like at the start, like I'm talking way back when I got my first buy-to-let, when the letting agent said to me like, "Oh, have you got your Legionella test?" And I was like, "Who's she?" Like, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Who's we Legion? Is she pals with Jimmy?
But I didn't even know if I was saying it right. Do you know? I was like, "What's that?" And now it's just so matter of fact, like run-of-the-mill stuff. Like, here's my checklist. Here it is. But
he's back to that protocol. Like, here's everything you need to do for a buy-to-let. Everything you need in place. Here's what you need for an SA. Everything in place. Right, go and hand it off.
But I also think like, if you have a good broker, if you're doing a buy-to-let and you've got a letting agent, like, you're kind of guided through the process anyway, just by the fact that you're doing it. So sometimes I think people can big it up in their head, like, oh, I'm going to get any property and I'm going to do a buy-to-let, but I don't know what to do. Like, you do know what to do, because you'll be led through it in a way, but there's also loads of research online that's totally freely available, and there's a lot of people I think who are like, they're always teetering on the edge, but they don't have the ability to just like hit go when it. And I think that's probably what I'm good at. Like, get like 95% of the way, get all your ducks in order, do your research. Don't be a fanny and just go for it. But like, you have to have the ability to just like press go and go for it.
I think you see it all the time. I watch that one more video on YouTube just to make sure I'm getting it right. oh, I'm going to wait until my website's built. I'm going to wait until I've got my right power team. You're going to be waiting forever. They want the ducks to line up. They want everything to be in place to make that perfect deal. And there's more to be said about just doing a deal than the perfect deal, because you'll learn more from it anyway.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's so much available online. Like even letting agents, good ones, will give you the time of day, because they know at some point in line you'll maybe come to me and give me a property to rent out.
Aye.
But there's so many letting agents that you could just go and talk to and say, like, I'm looking to get involved in buy-to-lets. What do I need? What should I account for? Like, I'll go and look at that then. Would you mind taking on the property if I done it, and they'll guide you through it as well?
Do you know what I mean? Like, what their answer would be. Like,
do you know what I mean? It goes back to that. Like, you're having doesn't need to be a coffee. You could phone them up.
Aye.
I mean, meet them at networking events. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of networking events you can go and meet professionals, like SA managers, like letting agents, brokers, whatever it may be.
Aye.
So many readily available just to have a conversation during those events that are brilliant to build up your experience and knowledge.
But I think, like, see if it's different for, like, because I was coming from another business, so I'd already done the networking process, I'd already done social media and stuff like that. But I think for people that are coming from, like, a permanently employed job, like, those are the people that really big it up in their head. They're like, oh, I'm going to get a buy-to-let. It's going to be such a big deal. And it's, and, like, because I've never done any of this stuff, it is all new to them. But it's really not that hard. No. That's what I always say to people. It's not hard. Like, and property is actually my easy business.
You overcomplicate it in your head. It's probably, I think it goes back to a little bit like what will Jimmy was saying about me if I go and do this. Yeah. Me, Jimmy's got big props here, but it is kind of like, oh, I work in this, whatever, insert field.
Yeah.
What are they going to think if I start doing this? What's my boss going to think? What's, like, if you've got the right mindset, so the wrong mindset surrounding it, what people, the people are going to think, then it will hold you back, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a wee bit about kind of balancing that kind of property business, medical business, personal life. How the hell do you find the balance and time? But before we get into that kind of stuff, I've got a wee shot we need to take, because I think Stephen would be raging with me if I didn't include it. It's a
wee tequila rose.
I wouldn't mind a tequila rose, to be fair.
I love a tequila rose.
But,
I actually love these. Good for you. Health first.
So fresh ginger.
Do you do one of these every day?
Well, if you do 3 podcasts in one day, I'll do 3 in a day. So does that make up for it if I don't do any other time in the month? Kind of.
Do you do it in one?
That's a shot. Cheer health.
It's beautiful. Barney.
Nope. You actually like that?
I like it.
Oh, I'm been chilling. I find a korma spicy. Do you know what I mean?
You sweating?
I also know, like, see the sweat is pouring down me. We had jelly on, and she's like, "That's not too bad." I think Matt was maybe the same. I'm like, "What is this? What is this meat doesn't like this?"
They have like turmeric ones as well, but I haven't had.
So Steve normally brings in like a turmeric one, ginger, and something else. And one day he brought in a chili one. I'm like, "You're just trying to kill me on podcast live."
No, I don't really like too much spice, but that's not like spicy. It's just gingery.
Ginger, spicy. My ears are ringing. Anyway, well, this is what I like. Just people. This is where normally where Stephen comes in. He just talks. I'm just like trying to regain my composure. So yeah, kind of balancing that investment side of things. Obviously, you still do the business side of things. For the contracting side of things, in personal life, like how do you find like try to balance all that together?
It's an impossible task. Like most days, like the balance is unbalanced. Like, and I would say what people don't see is like the unsexy parts of business. And this year, it's basically been me growing 2 businesses, launching a new one, launching new sectors in the consultancy business, because now we do cosmetics and we're doing medicines as well soon. So there's so many parts of it that are like, you're trying to balance clients, trying to balance multiple projects within those clients, multiple regulations, multiple devices. Then you're doing a refurb in South Queensferry. Then you're buying a deal from somewhere else and you need to be at the solicitor's office and, your phone is just pinging. Like, I'm about to get a second work phone like, 'cause I don't actually have one for property yet, so it's like Teams is pinging, emails are pinging, WhatsApp's pinging, and then I am meant to have a personal life as well.
Trying to anyway.
And I've got 2 wee dogs, you know what I mean? I'm a serious dog mum, so it's a lot. It is a lot. And some days it's like all consuming. And I think people really glorify business in general. Business is not a content shoot. Like, it's not coming to a podcast every day.
Mm-hmm.
It is sometimes really, really crap. Actually, probably most of the time it's really crap. You'll never have the same holiday you had before. You'll never like feel, it's like a sense of calm. Like I didn't have a lot of chill in me before, but I definitely don't now. Like, because I can't ever just like switch off. Even sometimes watching telly, I'm like, I need to put my phones in the other room and be like, right, I'm going to actually sit and watch Married at First Sight and really concentrate on this. And like this year, like the doctors told me my cholesterol's too high and stuff like that, but my diet isn't bad, and he's like, you need to try and de-stress, and I'm like,
how?
Never thought of that one. Like,
Thanks very
let
much.
me try that. But how do you step away from business? Even like there's people in my business who can do certain things, but the buck stops at me. Do you know what I mean? So, and sometimes it's speeds, like especially with if we get a new client inquiry, like sometimes the speed is the difference between them coming to us or coming to somebody else. So there's always that pressure. I'm not very good at the balance, is all I can say.
I don't think there really is, and nobody's ever found, that I know of anyway, that have found that perfect balance.
Aye.
Something's always going to be out of sorts. And was it? I think it was Steve Clark in one of the last episodes was saying it's kind of what your focus is at the time. So if your focus is, I was saying to him, like, I do a school run, I like to try and get back to pick up the girls. So I've got like that kind of 9 till 3. 5 hours of a day, I need to cram and things in. I'm still working at night. I'm doing due diligence on a property. Doing whatever admin crappy tasks I need to do. And then during the day, I'm doing like the site visits. I'm doing the offers. I'm doing the viewings. Doing stuff like this. Like, there's so much going on. Like, how do you cram so much a day? And he made a good point. I'm like, I'm trying to get to the gym. Like, probably trying to lose weight for the last 30 years. But he's like, what your focus is at the time is going to take dominance over it. So if it is your health, you'll focus a lot more on your health, and some of the business might take a bit of a step back. But if it's fully trying to grow a portfolio, for example, that's going to be the forefront, and maybe your fitness and health might take a little bit of a dip because you're on the road that much. You might just grab the quick fix.
It's so hard.
It's like I usually leave these podcast studios. I need to drive by McDonald's. I'm like, I could just get a wee thing just on the way home. But it's
just to take me over.
it's just wee things, like whatever your focus is at the time will take the dominance he's saying, and so true. Like, things will take a back seat. You try and find everything, but it's never going to be balanced. It's whatever fits right for you in your life at the time, I think.
I mean, I have a PT that I've been going to for years, but it's obviously been very off and on. And I have this conversation with him all the time because he knows all the stuff I have going on. And he knows that, like, in business, it's peaks and troughs. But if all the businesses are peaking at the same time, I ain't going to that gym. Like, I can't, because
that's what takes a back seat. Because
and it's like, he's always saying, you need to prioritise your health. You need to just come to the gym at 6 a.m. if that's when you can go. But see, if I make a mistake and look at the work phone or check an email, even if it's 6 a.m, like, then that's it. Like, sometimes I don't even get in a shower till lunchtime because I'm dealing with the shit. And that's just what has to happen. And it's like, how do you explain that to, like, the wee jimmies in this world? Like,
the social media makes it look glamorous, but actually the hidden truths of having it behind you is a lot more.
You don't see the day-to-day stuff, that's how you actually build a business. Like, it's doing the crap that nobody else wants to do consistently. It's not glamorous. It's not the content shit.
And if you were to go back and she walked in the door, 4-year-old, or not 4-year-old, but 4 years ago, Amy was to walk through the door, like, what you're telling her, what kind of advice you're going to give her, knowing what you know now?
Take the risks earlier, but also patience. Like, and I think, looking at it, like, 4 years in property, that's actually quite a long time. But given what my portfolio is probably worth now, like, and what I can do with it to buy more, like, just put the horse blinkers on, is what I always say, and just focus. Like, be aware of what competitors are doing and stuff like that, but also just focus on you, because, like, comparison can be the thief of joy, especially like if you're comparing your business to somebody else's that actually isn't the same. And I've got loads of stories about that, but it's just like sometimes like if you're in a service-based business as well, like your USP is you. So like actually just keep being you, keep being authentic, and keep working hard, and it will pay off.
Right. And then looking forward, like what does success look like for you?
Just
Tough questions.
I'm just a hamster
Just
on a
goodbye
wheel.
today, man.
No, I don't know. I think trying the different strategies in the property world, definitely. And I think you spoke there about sourcing being like the entry level, but I think I'm going to try and do a bit of sourcing because people assume that is what I do as well, but obviously I haven't really done that yet. And I know sourcing's not really what it was 5 years ago, stuff like that, but I'm going to kind of take all the lessons that I've learned this year from all the chats that I've been in, and also the lessons from other business, and see what I can do, maybe raise some private investor finance and do like bigger jobs and just try different things. Like, yeah.
Be adventurous with it. And I think that's, like, when I say sourcing's entry, I mean that with like total respect, because I think for me, I did not have a fucking pot to piss in, so I was like, how do I get involved in property without having any money? Because again, I knew the creative finances were there, but I'm like, I've not really got any equity in the house I can use and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, cool, I need to build up a fund somewhere. And I knew you don't have to have the money to buy the property, but somebody else can if you find it for them. That was from there. But I think you don't have to call yourself a deal sourcer, but you should still be sourcing deals for yourself. If it doesn't work for your criteria, because everybody's criteria is going to be so different. Some people might want turnkey, some people want, you know, big flip projects or bigger essays or whatever it may be. But if you're outsourcing for your own stuff and you come across something, you go, actually, won't work for me, but it'll work for wee Jimmy. Good damn it, but a deal, this will be Jimmy's deal. So it'll work for somebody. And if you can find that exit for them and you get a payment from it, and that's building your pot up for the next one. So it's definitely something I think you should be, everybody should incorporate into the business, whether you're actively sourcing for clients or you're just sourcing for yourself and need that exit. And like you say, having the right network of people who do have buyers can say, like, they're looking for this, would you take this? And you can collaborate on deals as well.
I think also like having the full right setup, like I think, you know, like having CRM in place and a website and all those kind of tools, like having, because I know you're saying like it's an entry level, low cost entry, but like getting all your ducks in order in terms of doing it properly, I think will hopefully pay off. So that's basically my plan.
And do you have things in place just now that help with your businesses, I suppose, like software and...
So I think this year, that's part of like what I'm trying to do is to get the right people in place and the right processes, because that's what I've realised, like I'm no longer the best person to do the work in my medical device company. It's a bit of an ego hit as well, but like I'm too busy.
Nobody can do it as good as me. Everybody thinks that.
Well, at the time I was really good at certain things, but it's like now I don't even have the concentration span. And I'm too busy doing everything else. So like that's basically my strategy, is just to pimp it out to other people.
I've never heard it. I've never heard it say it like that.
And get the processes in place. But even like VAs and stuff like that, just trying to make a proper business is what I kind of think. And like both businesses that I'm going to try and make proper businesses this year, basically.
Brilliant. Good. And have you got, like I say, you're always on the go anyway, like with so much, but have you got any sort of daily habits, rituals or nightly that you think it is a non-negotiable for me to have the best day that I can?
I do have a wee, like, I'm going to call it like a well-being checklist, right? Which I only really started this year. And if you had told me like years ago I'd be doing it, I'd be like, she's lost the plot by the way. But I do meditation every morning just for 10 minutes. And it's brilliant. I try and get to the gym 3 times a week is my target. Water, and try and like read a chapter of any book, just because I feel like sometimes if you're in business, like you don't